and welcome to the Lovebird Lane podcast. It has been a little while. My name is Julianne, I'm your host, and if you're one of my new subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing. I hope you do enjoy the podcast. I'm going to try and get back into it a little bit more regularly now that I've moved house. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for hanging in there. I know it has been a while. But I've just not had the time to even think about doing a podcast. And so I'm here now. I've moved house. The shop is back up and running. So if you're interested in any yarn, head over to the shop. There's a few lovely things in there, including some of my beaded stitch markers or progress keepers. So if you've been on the lookout for those, they are now in the shop. But I'm not here to talk about the shop. I'm here to talk about the many and varied things that have been going on. So by now, everybody should know I had 2 trader spotlights in 2 different yarn stores 1 month after the other. So that is why I was so busy right before I finished podcasting. One of those was for Yarn Trader, which is my local yarn store down at Port Adelaide, and that one is finished. But I still have a few skeins. There's not much left actually. I've been very excited to see the stock levels going down at Skein Sisters, which is where my August spotlight was. So there's a few little self-striping skeins left there. There's not a whole ton left, but thank you so much if you found me through either of those places. And thank you for supporting me if you've purchased any of my yarn. It's really appreciated and I'm so grateful for you. So that's what I was doing. I have moved house. We have been here for just over 2 weeks, about 2.5 weeks now. I am clearly in a different environment right now. There's a lot of light in this room because we haven't got any netting up at the window. It's just bare windows coming in. Something I probably do need to mention though is our roommate is getting a garage built out the back, and today turns out to be the first day that they're actually demolishing the fence out there, the old carport, and they've literally just pulled up the driveway with a bunch of, I guess, framing for the new garage. So yeah, if you do hear anything strange happening, if there's any bangs or anything like that, that it would be the garage being sorted out. So we have a bunch of our stuff in storage at the moment, and if you've ever rented a storage unit, that's quite pricey. So we're really glad that the garage is being built. So then we can shift everything out of the storage unit and quit paying for that. On the whole, everything has gone pretty smoothly. Granger and I are getting used to our new location. We've been on quite a few different walks around. Now that we are living here, we are further away from where Simon works. So if you recall, I used to drive Simon to work every day because he was only about 5 minutes away from our home. So I could very easily just drop him off at work and come home and have the car all day. Now we're a 20 to 30 minute drive away from his work. So every day he's taking the car, which means I don't have transport. So I've been walking a lot, which has actually been really enjoyable. Thankfully, we're kind of right smack dab here in between 2 kind of shopping centres. There's a supermarket down the end of our street. There's a post office about 15 minutes away. So I can pretty much get to anything from here for about a 15-minute walk. So that's quite handy. We're very close to a larger shopping centre, which is one direction, and then the small one the other direction. So yeah, it's just a matter of kind of getting used to my new surroundings, and I think it's okay. Mostly, I'm not really familiar. We're more south of Adelaide now, and I'm not overly familiar with this area because I grew up around the northeast, and then Simon and I have been living around the west. So now we're kind of down south, which is, we're not hugely south. We are still probably within that 20 to 30 minutes of the city. But yeah, it's kind of just a little bit different because I'm not used to this area. So it's just learning where to go, learning the landmarks, because I'm one of those people that drives via landmarks. I don't drive via street names. So yeah, it's just a matter of getting used to the landmarks and knowing where I need to turn and remembering my way around. So I haven't got lost yet, so I guess that's a good thing. What else? Granger has moved quite well. He has settled in quite well. Our roommate was one of Granger's favourite people before we moved in, so he's very excited to be able to see one of his favourite people every day. Sometimes Simon and I are beginning to feel as if Granger doesn't love us at all and it's all about Chris, but you know, that's okay. Granger can be a little overbearing at times, so I guess it's nice to have a third person to kind of spread out Granger's love, shall we say. He's a little bit perturbed this morning, so hopefully he doesn't interrupt too much, and he's just a little bit perturbed by the builders out the back. Our backyard will not be enclosed while the garage is being built, so I'm going to have to take him out to go to the toilet out the front, probably taking him on a few walks around the block just to make sure he's all evacuated. But yeah, that's okay. More walking is not a problem. I have been a little bit sedentary for quite a while, so it's nice to be able to just go out for walks, and the weather is still cool, so it's not like it's middle of summer out there and burning hot, so that's good. So much has happened and I just don't know where to start or what to include. Yeah, I'm not dyeing yarn as yet. I don't have the space really at the moment because we've got a lot of our behind me in the room just next to me. There's a big doorway just here. It's pretty well full of boxes. We have cleared it to the point where we can actually eat dinner in the dining room, which is what's next to me. So we have been eating at the dining table. However, we are still surrounded by boxes. So once the garage is up, we can start to move out both ours and our roommate's stuff that's not required in the house. And yeah, I should be able to set up my sort of office and workspace. So I do have my sewing machines and things like that, but I don't really have a place to, I mean, I could set up on the dining table, but I don't really want to interfere with us being able to have somewhere to eat at the moment. So yeah, no dyeing happening, no sewing happening. I have got my loom available, but I haven't done any of that. I haven't done any spinning. I did get really into my spinning in the Tour de Fleece, and I spun 2 or 3 skeins, 3 skeins of yarn during that. I haven't actually worked out any weights or yardages on those skeins as yet, so I've not got them today to talk about, but once I figure all of that out, I will share them with you. I have a few finished objects. I don't have everything to hand to show. I know I've shown you all my impressionist socks that I was knitting. Those were finished. I think they may have got packed away and they are in the storage unit at the moment. So yes, as I don't have transport, the storage unit's maybe a 10-minute car ride down the road. So I can't exactly just hop out and go and get them because it's probably going to take me at least an hour to walk down there or something ridiculous. I haven't timed it out, but I'd say the round trip would be getting on for 2 hours, but yeah. So I don't have those. I do have a few other things to show, so I might just grab those and just quickly go through them because I don't want this podcast to be an hour long. I'll just have a quick go through them. And I hope I'm staying in focus at the moment because I don't have an autofocus lens on my DSLR, so I think I've got myself focused, but it's very hard to tell just in the little viewfinder that I've got in front of me. So if I go in and out of focus by moving backwards and forwards, I apologise if that's annoying. I'll try and hold still in one position. First up, I guess, I don't know what order these were finished in. What I'm holding in my hand may have been one of the later ones, but we'll start there. It was on top of the pile. If you had any discussions with me in person, you probably are aware that I don't love the amount of plastics that I am using. So I'm trying to find ways to reduce plastics in all the things that I have. We've moved to bamboo toothbrushes. I am no longer buying kitchen sponges, which is what I've got here in my hand. And yeah, I'm trying to use bio bags for garbage bags, and I compost all my green waste and all that kind of thing. So I'm trying very much to reduce the amounts of plastics that I am working with, and to mostly have plastics that I can put into the recycle bin. Yeah, I always try and make sure that any plastics that I do have are recyclable, and I put them in the roadside recycling bin and all of that kind of thing. So all that good stuff. I'm taking all my soft plastics to Coles to be recycled. So yeah, I'm trying to reduce the amount of plastic that I have, and the ones that I do have, I'm hoping, I'm looking for them all to be recyclable. So anyway, blather. I know that kitchen sponges and things, they're all made out of plastic foam and things like that. So I obviously, you know, as you use them, they break down, it goes down the drain and that kind of thing. So I was looking for a more natural alternative to those plastic sponges. So I jumped onto Ravelry and I looked up sponges. So this is a crocheted scrubby sponge, and this is made out of some Knit Picks Dishy that I have had. I purchased 4 of the cones, because you can get Dishy on cones, and I think they're 400 gram cones, and I purchased 4 different colours of that, and so that is what I have used to crochet a scrubber sponge. It's not as what's the word, abrasive as like I use scrubber sponges, like with the foam on the bottom and the green kind of scrubby stuff on the top. So I haven't found it to be as abrasive, and it has 2 different textures. So this is just single crochet here, and that is more of like a bobble. I believe it's like a treble stitch bobble. It's a free pattern, I just found it on Ravelry. And yeah, so I've used it once. It's 3 layers. So basically what you do is you crochet a very, very long strip, and then you fold it in thirds and then just sew around the perimeter so that it's into one piece. So yeah, that was quick and easy. I made that in one night, and I think I used about 35 grams, which is I think 68 yards of the Dishy, which is a worsted weight cotton. I'm probably going to make a few more of these. I'm thinking they would be a really good gift as well, because my sister-in-law actually has been trying out like the coconut fibre brushes and things like that for doing her dishes, and she says they fall apart really quickly and they're actually quite pricey. So I'm thinking I might make her up a few of these and see how she goes with these. So I sort of thought these were a great idea, not only for me who wants to reduce the plastics, but for friends who also want to do the same. So if you're interested in that, I have linked that in the show notes down below. Next up is a couple of pair of mitts. And these are a pair for me and a pair for Simon. And Simon has been asking for these for a really long time, but every time I keep saying to him, what type do you want? Do you want long cuffs? Do you want fingers? Do you want a mitt, like a fingerless mitt? What do you want? And every time I ask him, he like just never responds. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to start knitting something if it's not what you want. So I finally nailed it down. I found a pattern. This is a free one on Ravelry, and I finally found the pattern. I said, will these work? And he said, oh no, they look good. So I made him his mitts. Now this yarn is actually one that I dyed very early on when I was learning to dye, and this is Bendigo Wool & Mill's Luxury 10 ply, and I just dyed it with Greener Shades dyes. They were the first ones that I had, and it's basically just like a purple black. He likes to roll his down at the top so that he can wear these while gaming on the weekend and things like that, just so he can keep his hands warm and still be able to use his fingers. But when he gets cold and he's not gaming, he'll roll them back up. So that's his pair. I have linked to the projects down in the description box in the show notes, so you'll be able to go straight to the pattern on Ravelry from down there. So that's his pair. And then my pair, I've done one for me as well, and I did something a little bit different with mine. It's not actually, what's the word? It's not a worsted weight yarn in this one. I held 3 fingering weight scraps together. There's Granger, he's just got up and shaken his head. Yeah, so mine were 3 fingering weight scraps held together. So 2 out of the 3 yarns that I had was Knit Picks Chroma Twisted, or Chroma Twist, which is one that I did the his and hers socks out of. You'll be able to find that on my my Ravelry page. So I held those 2 together, and because the Chroma Twist is like a gradient, so as you can see they don't match entirely because there's a gradient. Granger's gonna stick his head in the way. You haven't made an appearance on the podcast for a while, have you, buddy? No, your head is in the way. Yes, it is. Yeah, like I said earlier, he's a little bit perturbed by all of the goings on out the back, and I have promised him to take him out after I record this. So another reason why I don't want to be here too long, because, you know, he hasn't had a trip outside since he woke up this morning. So, I mean, granted, it is only not quite 10, so it's not like he's been without a wee for 5 hours. So yeah, along with those 2 Chroma Twists, I used some leftovers of one of my own yarns, my Fancy Feet colourway Violet Leopard, which was on a sparkle, and I don't know if it's showing up that there's sparkle in there, but yeah, I think these worked out really well. I initially started with 4 strands of fingering weight yarn, and that was too thick. And I was just going off a guide that I found on the internet, and it implied that 4 fingering would be about a 10 ply, but it's not. I think it was more of a bulky. Even the 3 I think was a touch thick. But yeah, they're cozy. It worked. The gauge wasn't so bad that I couldn't knit, even though these are a little bit more chunky than a worsted weight. Although these these are Aran weight. The 10 ply from Bendigo Wool & Mills is an Aran weight, so you know, kind of close to that Aran weight on both pairs. But yeah, they've been very handy, and especially when most of my knitwear has been packed away, so it has been handy to have a pair of mitts just available. I've just been keeping them in my handbag and wearing them as required. So that was the more his and hers knits of Fingerless mitts. And the last FO that I have for this episode, I don't have my sock blockers. That's where I think my Impressionist socks are in storage with my sock blockers. So I have a pair of socks, if they're just not on blockers. And now these are a pair of socks that I knit from one of my skeins of, I think it was the Harry Potter club from a Homespun House. And this, I had a 3-month club that I treated myself to for my birthday last year. And these are the colourway Liquid Luck. But this was the second installment. It came with a little stitch marker of a little, what's the word, like a little, not a smoothie, but like a little milkshake progress keeper that was like a really glittery gold. So Liquid Luck is a little potion that they had in Harry Potter. I think Neville won it, if I remember rightly. So yeah, these were just my regular vanilla socks with the Fish Lips Kiss heel. I am still knitting my socks on 2.25mm needles now, so I should probably go into the pattern and update that. I'm liking the fabric a lot. They are staying in shape a lot better than they were. So because I have been so busy and been so tired, socks have been my main knitting that I have been doing of late. I was working on my second rose cardigan. If you recognise, I am wearing my original rose cardigan today. I have been doing quite a bit of knitting on that, but that is packed in a box in the dining room, so I'm not gonna go and dig through all the boxes to get that out. Granger is losing his mind again. Hello. What? I know, they're making noise. I know. Off he trots again with the ears pricked up. So yeah, socks has kind of been all that I've had the wherewithal to knit mostly. However, I have started another sweater, which I will talk about now. And speaking of socks, I can show you my current pair. I have knit one whole sock and I have started my second one. And these are from some Knit Picks Felici that I've had. I've had Felici around for ages. I have sold quite a bit in my D-stash. That is still going on. I still have yarn in D-stash. I just haven't really been actively advertising that lately because I've just, like I said, not had time. But you can see my markers on there. This is Felici in the Goth Kitty colourway. So it's basically 2 shades of grey, a green, some pink, magenta and purple. And yeah, I basically, this is again my regular vanilla sock with the Fish Lips Kiss heel, and I just used the opposite end of the ball to put my heel in so that I didn't break up my stripe progression, because I have become one of those people that can't have my stripe progression on my self-striping socks broken. So because I don't have any contrast yarn, because I usually do my self-striping with contrast toes, cuffs and heels, but my yarn is in storage, so yeah, I basically just went for it and just used the opposite end of the ball to do the heel, and I've got a little bit left of that ball, and I have started my second sock, and I of course have to have matching, everything has to be matching for the top of my sock as well, so that is as far as I've gotten on my next sock. And I'm kind of just alternating this with my other project, which I can show you now, and it just really depends on how busy and tiring my day has been. Because some days are different, and you know, some days I can relax and other days there's lots to do. I've done a lot of cleaning, a lot of organising, been through the kitchen and arranged everything how I would like it, because I'm going to be doing most of the cooking, let's face it. So I thought, well, if I'm doing most of the cooking, then the kitchen should be organised how I would like it to be. So that's what I've done. But anyway, let's talk about the knitting. And this is a sweater, even though it is hard to see. I'll talk to the yarn about the yarn first. This is Bendigo Tweed from Bendigo Wool & Mills, and it is a merino bamboo tweed mix, and it's got a lovely sheen from that bamboo. And the pattern that I picked is a Hohi Locatelli pattern, that's the word. It's called All the Love, and that the project actually calls for a yarn with silk in it, so I thought that the bamboo would probably be a nice alternative to silk, because they both sort of give that sheen. And I'll hold it up, it's probably very hard to see. It is one of Hohi's boxy type sweaters. This is DK weight yarn, and I am now just working away on the body. So it has these little lace sections on it, and I thought also that this yarn, when I got it, I actually bought this yarn mostly to make a cardigan for Simon, because I basically bullied him into the fact that I'm going to make him a cardigan. And but when I got it, I wanted to make a cable cardigan for him, but this yarn, I've got this in a different colour. This is Old Rose. I've got Dusty Plum for Simon. But when I've got it, it's actually a very loosely spun 2-ply yarn, so it's not great for cables, but it's great for lace. So that was why I had a few contenders for this sweater. And when I saw the lace and the way the yarn is spun, I thought, well, that's perfect. So I'm just at the point now, as always, Hohi's patterns are so ingenious, where you do short rows and join the shoulders. So that's just, it's picked up and knit down. I don't know if you can see that seam just here. Pick up and knit down the front using short rows and things. And now I am, I think, about 8 inches down. These markers are every 2 inches. So yeah, I'm about 8 inches down from the armhole, and I need to do, I think it was 15 inches before I start the bottom ribbing, and then I can pick up the sleeves. So yeah, I've just been working away on this. So this and the socks is pretty much what I've been working on. This is if I need a little bit more interest, because I have to remember that there's these lace sections every round or every few rounds. And the socks if I really... Sorry, got a little bit cut off there. My card got full for some reason, even though there was only 10 gig worth of video on a 30 gig card, but you know, whatever. You can see Granger's nose in the bottom corner again. Yeah, I know we can go out shortly. So that's probably really all I can think of to talk about today. I'm already getting quite thirsty from all the talking. And Granger probably would like a wee, so I might leave it there. Please, if you have anything to say, any questions to ask, please leave them in the comments below. Remember to give the video a thumbs up, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're just lurking around and you're watching, please subscribe if you enjoy the podcast, because it really helps me out with the old YouTube algorithms. So yeah, that's would be very much appreciated. So I guess I will leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for hanging in there and waiting for me during this little hiatus, and I hope to be doing this weekly again, if not bi-weekly, but we'll see how we go. As always, check out lovebirdlane.com. I have updated the website now, so it's all a brand new website, brand new layout, and hopefully it's a little bit more intuitive and easier to use. And as I said, there is stock in the shop now, so feel free to have a browse there as well. But until next time, take care, stay safe, happy knitting, happy crafting, and I will see you in the next one.